custom home built in 2000, away from the city, but also close to the city at the same time. Square footage of the house is just over 5,600 square feet. Over here we have over 50 mature fruit trees that have been growing for years and a nice garden to walk through. Given that we are in a high-risk fire zone, and they knew that building this home, the entire home has a sprinkler system inside, and even outside everything is sprinkled. So if there is a fire, the water will kick in and hopefully help put that out.
Massive wildfire burning in Orange County, now shifting directions and threatening communities along Ortega Highway.
The airport fire has grown to more than 9,000 acres since it first began yesterday afternoon.
This is probably as bad as it's been. We've been here for like 25 years.
Climate change is impacting the housing crisis because more and more places are becoming really, really high risk to live there. And all of the ways that we deal with the risk of owning property are becoming less and less reliable. I just did a story where there was an insurance company that said 30,000 homeowners were no longer going to have their policies renewed. And so then they are stuck trying to find new insurance, and oh wait, there is not another insurance company that's willing to insure them because they're in a high fire risk area. So all of a sudden you're seeing more and more folks having to decide whether the neighborhoods that they lived in, they can continue to live there.
What you're looking at here are interior walls.
My name is Scott Long. I'm the CEO and co-founder of NileBuilt Corporation. My team's been involved in really pushing the envelope for new building methodologies and materials for nearly 30 years now. These are major weather events that require very little ignition source to create the amount of damage that they're creating. If you begin to build sustainably this way, if you begin to build non-combustible structures, the science behind it is that one structure won't ignite the next. And that has really pushed our business to the forefront of this solution. We start with the fact that the materials that we use, which are a combination of fiber composites and concrete, are non-combustible and non-flammable. And our building system encapsulates the insulation within the wall cavity. So there's literally nothing that, even if exposed to direct fire source, can ignite.
My name is Buddy Hughes. I'm a third-generation builder and developer in Lexington, North Carolina. Common for us in the Southeast has been hurricanes. The cost to rebuild homes that have been destroyed by catastrophic events has escalated more in the last 10 years than it ever has.
Days after Helene, the River Arts District remains underwater. Everything here a complete loss, just more devastation on top of tragedy. Tonight, the big question for so many in this community is when that federal help will get here on the ground.
When you look at the flood resiliency on the NileBuilt product itself, walls themselves for the building envelope have 0 wall cavities. If you're going to get water inside the home, it's going to be through the doorways. Structurally, the home is sound. You don't have any of the mold issues. You don't have any of the components that would say, hey, look, you know what, I've got to rip this out. I've got to redo all of this. During Katrina, for example, the home that survived that you see images of and they showed on the news, it was a home that we supplied the technology on. It was done with Habitat for Humanity as part of that process, and that was the only home that survived.
Our home prices just hit an all-time high. Santa Clara and San Mateo are the first 2 counties in the United States with a $2 million median home price.
The affordability in California is outrageous. We need to figure out ways where housing becomes the right of someone and is not something they can't even attain.
Historically, and I would say even now, the way that people have been able to build wealth in this country is through homeownership policies.
I find it increasingly difficult for the first-time home buyer to own that first home for a lot of reasons. One, it's more difficult to save up enough for a down payment, and just the sheer cost of construction has escalated so much that it's putting it out of reach.
Housing technology has not kept up with population growth, and that has created a real constricting point in terms of supply into the industry. You're now selling $800,000 condos for $2 million. So a lot of what our firm has been working on is municipal land deals where we can come in and build at an affordable price and agree to not take that same greedy approach and hold the prices down so we can begin to build these homes in volume.
We are advertising one of the models. We're calling it the villa model. So we're advertising the renderings and some specs on the house, and we're looking to keep these prices around $750,000. But there's a huge demand. I get calls all day long and at least 3 to 5 inquiries and people on my interest list every day.
The trends in business over the past 50 years have been to focus companies more and more on short-term profits. This has resulted in them cutting back all kinds of benefits for their employees, leads to lots more environmental damage as they're very focused on what they can deliver to shareholders in the short term. The public actually wants more and more sustainable housing, but the large entrenched players are just not able to deliver that. So that creates a tremendous opportunity for new, innovative companies to actually come in and grab that market share.
In the construction of anything, we create carbon. I think the real important nature of it is what is the benefit after it's constructed. There's energy stored within the concrete layers of these homes, and particularly in the walls and the slab of the home. That energy storage is re-released throughout the day. We have seen a balance of homes that we've done since 2007 that have been off-grid for coming on 17 years now. We're the first and only firm that has been able to achieve net zero performance, let alone achieve it affordably.
NileBuilt's production is always done on site, and what that does is it reduces not only our carbon footprint, but it also reduces the cycle times of bringing materials to the site itself. You know, what would typically take a dozen steps, we've got down to 3. So when a traditional home takes anywhere from 9 months to 12 months for a builder to build, NileBuilt homes can go up anywhere as fast as 30 days, up to 90 days, depending upon the complexity of the project.
I think there's a demand for something that is new and different, and NileBuilt has a solution. I do believe that this is going to gain mass appeal, and it will start maybe setting a precedent for home building. I think broad picture, this is going to benefit everybody.
So I think the solution to housing and sustainable housing is at our fingertips. We're ready to move forward to create an example that's going to be impactful for everyone.
Technology, if used properly and historically, is there to solve problems. And this is a great example of what you can do with technology if you have the ethics behind it to do something positive with it.